This morning I want to announce the arrest of Michael Keetley. This is in regard to the Thanksgiving Day shooting and murder of Sergio and Juan Guitron and also the 4 other victims. I'm just going to give you just a few facts, and I think I'll just let you ask me questions, and it will probably be easier for you. Investigators have been working, as you know, since about 2:30 in the morning on Thanksgiving. They did an exceptional job. We knew this was a person that we needed to get off the street very quickly, and very proud of their work. Early this morning, shortly after midnight, we were able to arrest Keetley. He had been under our surveillance since the weekend, and since we had first believed that he was involved in this particular crime. We, as you know, that morning there were 7 people on the porch. 6 of them were shot. 2 of them, one of them died at the scene. One of them died a few minutes later at the hospital. We still have a 3rd victim who is in very critical condition at the hospital. There was a 7th person who was there, and the only reason we believe that he was not shot is because one of the other victims, after being shot multiple times, fell on him, and he escaped injury at that time. So we potentially would have had 7 people murdered that morning, and 6 of them who were almost murdered, and 2 were. Right now, Keetley is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder. There may be other adjustments to those charges as the state attorney sees fit. And with that, I would like to open this up to questions and get all done.
This is apparently a case of vigilante justice, isn't it?
That right now is our speculation. We believe that Keetley, he himself was a robbery victim. He reported a robbery to us back in January. He was driving an ice cream truck, and he was robbed by, at that time he described black males wearing hoods and a female. We were never able to make an arrest. That is still an active investigation, though, and there are leads in that case, but there's nothing that leads us to believe that any of these people were involved in his case. But somehow Keetley came to believe that someone at this residence was involved in his case, and we believe that he was looking for them. And I'll elaborate on that a little further to help. That morning when he showed up on the front porch, he drove up very quickly in that dark-colored van. He exited. He had a shirt that was described, and we believe it may have said sheriff, like a generic shirt. It could have been a vest, like a bulletproof vest. We're not sure. He got out. He immediately at least made them believe that he was law enforcement. They did get very suspicious of him quickly. He proned them out on the ground, started asking for IDs, and shortly after started shooting. But the one person he was asking for was someone by the name of Creeper. There is a person who lives just about 2 houses down, and his nickname is Creep. We believe that he was looking for him. We believe he went to the wrong residence, and he had bad intelligence where this guy was. And it was very unfortunate for these victims that they were there. They did know this a guy, one of the witnesses, whose nickname is Creep. They did not admit to knowing him at that time, but shortly after that he started shooting, and so we believe that he felt that this guy he was looking for was one of those people, and in fact he was not.
What makes you believe that he is indeed a suspect in this?
Over the weekend, we started getting some information from witnesses that Keetley had been talking. He had been obsessed with this other case that he had been involved in, and that he had been talking about it, and he had openly offered a cash reward for information. He had made comments to other people about looking for this guy Creep, and so we had some tips and some information on that. The description did fit him. Ultimately, what happened is in the course of this investigation, it's very, very complex, but a search warrant that was executed at his house over the weekend on Bonita Drive, we recovered a vehicle that they had been target practicing on, an old van that they had been shooting at. The projectiles from that van match a projectile that was removed from one of the victims at the scene. So we have a bullet from his house tied to this scene. And that is a very key piece of physical evidence. There's other pieces of evidence that are pending, but that is very key. Also, his statements to other people. Yesterday, one of the victims who had been in an induced coma, who had been medically cleared now to speak to investigators, picked him out of a lineup, said he was 2,000% positive this was the guy. And again, his physical description, everything did match.
Has Keetley made a statement to you at all, or talked to detectives at all?
He has talked to detectives, but he has not cooperated in the case, no.
What kind of weapon was it? What kind of weapon was used in the kill?
Well, we know that one of the weapons is a .45 caliber. The type we don't know. The caliber is a .45. We're still looking for the weapons. We have recovered pieces of weapons. We have not recovered that weapon, and we certainly, that's one thing we're still looking for, that shirt or that vest and that weapon. Could have been in a dumpster. It could have been thrown off out of a car that evening, and we continue to look for that.
What kind of condition is he in after recovering from the January robbery with his hands and using a gun?
I'm sure he has some lingering effects from that, but he was back working again, and obviously he was able to do this, so he's recovered enough to.
Did you recover the van that was used tonight?
Yes, that van we believe is the van that belongs to his father, and that was some good work by detectives. They were able to look at that van by description, and were able to run one, it being somewhat unique, and there was one registered to his father, and he had access to it. He was using that van that evening.
What kind of van?
I'll have to give you the particulars on it, with the make and model. I'm not sure.
Is he a gun enthusiast? Is he expert with guns? Does he like guns? What kind of
Yeah,
guns?
we believe he does like guns. We know that he was buying and selling them, and that's another thing we would ask the public. Our information is that he bought guns from calling people, would see them advertised in the paper, on the internet. So if anybody has sold him a gun or been involved with him, we would like to have that information.
We understand he was also stockpiling police or sheriff's badges, IDs. Tell me about that.
We haven't found those, and that's been said. What we have found is he had 2 bulletproof vests at his house, and he had a pair of handcuffs. He had some different paraphernalia regarding firearms. He at the time, and when he was arrested over the weekend, he had an active injunction against him for repeat violence from some type of neighborhood dispute. So he was not. The court had disallowed him from possessing a firearm, and that's part of that charge from over the weekend. So he could not legally possess a firearm at the time. But we believe that he was at least buying weapons probably in the weeks prior to the shooting.